What do you mean? Stop? No, I was doing like a falling off a...
Yeah.
Like a climber, like reach the peak.
Right.
And then drop off. Let's move this slightly there. There we go. It's pointing, it's pointing at the bush.
The bush.
The bush.
There we go.
I've actually been using that as a description on...
The bush.
Yeah. When I've been showing people where to speak, so we've got these circle... Like, there's a nice circle on the end of these microphones.
They are.
And then I was like, yeah, so you want the circle pointing at the bush.
The bush.
Yeah.
Good morning, Adam Walker from HubSpoke Media.
Good morning, Andrew Reid from Resilient Business Systems.
Episode 27.
27. There was also a milestone yesterday, I hear.
Yes.
I know there's a milestone because I came upstairs and saw you.
I know.
What happened yesterday, Mr. Reid?
It was my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yes.
27, yeah?
And the rest.
And the rest.
Somebody said 25, and I went, oh, that's very kind of you. Oh, hang on, 25, double it, and then add 6. I was like, wow.
There we go. So did you have a good birthday?
Certainly did.
Obviously, you're in work yesterday, weren't you?
Heck, but then finished off and went for a lovely, lovely meal at my local farmhouse pub, which was lovely.
The old farmhouse, I've been there.
The old farmhouse. Delicious food.
Yeah. Did you go starters, main and dessert?
It was my birthday. I was allowed.
Were you? Starters, you went for the bumper. I'm more of a starters and main kind of guy.
Normally I am, but I was arm twisted. It is your birthday.
Yeah, I'm sure you resisted.
Forget the fact that you're diabetic.
Yeah. Oh dear, right? Yeah. Well, you're still here.
I'm still here.
Yeah, exactly. So
no, it was really good.
Well, happy birthday. I mean, I'll be the way I described you yesterday, and that was with me running in and out for various wires. So I'm sorry. First of all, but if I could see a human octopus, I would probably draw you yesterday.
Honestly.
Phones and mobile phones and all sorts of stuff. Teams calls.
I couldn't believe it when you were in, like, popping in to see the cables. I think at one time I was just on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
I was texting somebody. You came in, and I said to the person, "Oh, bear with me, Hannah. I've just got to yeah, Adam, can I help?" And I was literally
you were
multitasking.
And then but now it's like, just that box there, Adam. I've needed quite a few network cables this week. Are we all right, Alina? I'm just checking. Yeah, we okay? May as well check. It's our thing, so we can check.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me take. I was like, I need a cable.
Then it turned into I need another cable
of the same cable.
Then it was I need another cable.
Yeah, I like the other two cables.
Yeah.
And then
I liked them so much.
But then it was for every one cable, I actually needed 2 cables.
Yes,
because of the way networking works and
Absolutely.
patch panels. Yeah, I've been teaching the team.
Oh wow, that's really good.
When I say teaching, I don't think they're very informed, but telling them what cables were going in where. So obviously, for the Mark Wades of the world, a patch panel. That's where your wires go through the walls.
Correct.
And pop out in a server cabinet.
Correct.
And then the server cabinet has a thing called a patch panel, which is a load of plugs, basically. But what it means is you don't have a plug going into a socket, into a socket, into a plug. It just means you have wire, socket, and then the plug goes into that socket.
Yeah, but it allows you to make available on the floor, in the walls, in the sideboards, whatever you want to call it. It means that you've got a socket which you can plug your cable in. You follow that socket up to the patch panel, and then you go, that's patch panel number 1, and then you put it into the switch. That switch is connected to your internet. Bingo, you've got internet.
Exactly. So I was going to Lena. I stood on. I was observing all health and safety, as you've seen me do before,
100%.
in my server cabinet,
Yes.
on the desk chair with the twirly
seat and hanging onto it,
and wheels. So, yeah, don't do that, team.
Exactly.
But I was shouting across the room, Alina, what's that number in the floor?
Number 6!
Not the blue one, the black wire. So, yeah.
Very good.
So that was great. I'm grateful for your help.
No, well, we did decide yesterday, very late on, why don't we make it the topic of the podcast? So what is the topic of the podcast?
So, shall I? You've seen me bring my prop in. I couldn't hide it. I couldn't really put this up my jumper to hide it.
No, I was looking away going, what's this? I recognise that machine.
For those watching, could you tell me what that label says on the top there?
It says Spielberg.
This is Spielberg. So if you're listening, we've got I'd say a small-ish computer case.
Desktop form factor, yeah.
Yeah, so we have been doing lots of podcasts, and the amount of data, and it resulted in me running upstairs going, Andy, Michelle, help me.
Yes.
And Spielberg is, well, your child, isn't it?
It is
I've
the
named it
child.
Spielberg, obviously, after the master, Mr.
Did you
Spielberg.
like my team's reference when you said
I did,
to-
yeah. Yeah, the Jurassic Park GIF. If you don't have Teams, use the GIFs. Like, you need Teams for GIFs. That's all you need.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I came up going, we've got an editing challenge. It's moving the data. When we shoot one of these podcasts with 3 cameras, we're pulling about 70 gigabytes of data
What?
in an hour because we're recording all the feeds and this, that, and the other. We're then having to offload it all. We do back everything up, and we've got another server that we back stuff up to. But that's done in a redundant way, so that if you lose a hard disk, you can replace that hard disk and it repopulates the drive, and you've saved your data. We've got portable disks, as most video editors end up having, like loads of portable disks, and they're great. And for this on the A10 Mini Mixer, we're recording to an SSD.
Yes, via the
hopefully.
USB 3. Yeah,
hopefully. And then we've got to pull that data down. So part of the issue I've been having is A, how do we move 70 gigs of data quickly? How do we get it into our backup quickly? B, Alina's laptop was actually, it was a MacBook, but an older MacBook. It's been ground to a halt. So we've had to take delivery of a gaming machine, basically.
I've seen it. It's
Did you see
lovely.
it?
I walked past the room and I was like, whoa, what's those red RGB lighty flashy things?
My mum walked in and went, what is it? And I went, it's a computer.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically a gaming rig.
Yeah.
I
Flash.
assume she's editing. But I can't see a screen from when I was. I'm looking at you now, Alina.
Yes.
I assume she's editing.
Hot tab quicker than the Quake and the Sim Cities.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I've had to do that because it just workflow has become. We did 5 podcasts the other week.
You were saying that. You were literally saying back to back.
And then it's like we're trying to move files around, back things up. It's awesome that people want to do the podcasts, but it's brought challenges that I thought we wouldn't have had.
Yeah. Now, I understand the principles of what you're doing, and obviously in terms of a USB hard drive, very, very quick.
Yes.
Very, very easy. But suddenly, if you apply what you've just told me, 70 gigs worth of data, copying that to a USB, then you taking it, and then Alina plugging it in, and then copying it to her local drive, it really just doesn't work, does it? The challenge is instantly time, speed, it's just not there.
Yep.
Which is why you came up to my office and went, Andy, help.
I wasn't singing, I was in agony.
No, you were in agony because you
That
were
was
like,
quite
Andy,
tuneful.
help.
That's quite tuneful. But yeah, so it was. Obviously, the editing rig was the first part to speed up, and Alina's gone, yes, okay, Premiere Pro is running. You said more than twice is better. Yeah, nodding.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry.
And Adobe Premiere is a powerful piece of software, but also it can chug and consume huge amounts of memory.
Needless to say, Alina was having frozen frames going on with the audio still running on. She, fair play to her, Alina.
Yeah, exactly.
not to you. So that's remedied that issue. And then I'm like, but this data is still a problem. So there's a few things around getting data into the network. But I was like, Andy, we need an intermediary step, which is like not tying up with someone's computer, because part of the issue is when we're copying files, it would tie up my laptop or it would tie up Alina's machine, and we're just sat waiting for it to do. And it's almost like we need another thing. And I suppose the way I looked at it was like a kitchen.
Yes.
You've got your head chef, sous chef, larder, pastry.
Did you just call me larder?
No, larder section. Yeah. I used to work the larder section actually.
Yes, you could tell. Didn't you?
Yeah, I did. But so there's different names in different kitchens, but that's how we. So then I was like, right, well, we need a similar computer setup to that. Insert Spielberg. So tell me, when I said this, what were you thinking?
I instantly said to you, my
just
friend,
taking the case off if you're listening.
Yeah, we're both doing this. But I instantly said to you, what you need is a NAS, and we can repurpose some equipment and some hard drives and create you a NAS solution. So a NAS, for those people, network architecture storage. And this beautiful thing that we created was using some software called TrueNAS, which is free. open source software based upon Linux, and effectively, my friend, it gives you huge amounts of storage for free. I donated the machine to you because it was sat doing nothing.
I know, thank you. Yeah, so when I walked in, Andy went, "You need one of those," and nodded backwards. And you've got a couple of these, haven't you? These machines.
Yeah, and literally the reason we use it for, Adam, is that we don't like to throw things away. We obviously don't want to contribute to the landfill, the electronic landfill.
Yep.
So I keep these machines purely for these purposes. And lo and behold, you stepped up and I went, here, have this.
And I conveniently had 2 discs.
2 500 gig SSDs.
Oh, you've written on them.
Yes. Because
orange SATA
it's
for the.
Because you need to make sure, because we've RAID zeroed them,
Yep.
we need to ensure that they are in the right positions.
Cool. Well, let's just go back to this machine. So this machine, has this been used with a previous client, I'm assuming?
Yes. So one of the things that we do is that when a customer says to me, Andy, I need my machine upgrading, think Alina, in that particular scenario, okay, you jumped from a Mac
Yeah, I just went full
a PC.
Full hammer.
But typically what we get is we get the customer saying, this machine is old.
Yep.
It's 4 to 5 years old. Please, can we upgrade it? Please, can we do something with it? The downside nowadays is if you think way, way back, Adam, step back with me in time. Windows, sorry. Alina's just looking at
She's
it,
looking
going,
at us.
what? Windows 95.
Yes.
Windows 98.
Yes.
Obviously, in terms of the speed and the processing of the machines, didn't take that much. Jump forward to Windows 11. Massive amount of processing power required.
Yes.
In terms of disk space, in terms of memory, in terms of PC processing power. So most of the time, when the customer says, I need to upgrade this machine, we end up going, sorry, you'll need to buy a new one.
Yeah.
And they invariably say, what do you want to do with the old machine? And I go, I'll have it. And there's 2 reasons for that, Adam. One, because if you think about it from your point of view, just getting the coffee out of the way.
Yeah, I'm putting the thing up so you can see it on my camera. Alina, you can put this on while Andy's talking. So put my camera on.
So where was I? Oh, yes, the customer. They'll say, I said, I'll get rid of it. And the reason is 2 things. We, Resilient, contribute quite a lot to waste landfill because obviously we're in the electronics computer industry. Okay.
Yep.
So as part of Resilient, what we tend to think of is we will help and provide a WEEEEEEEE service. Do you know what?
I don't know what WEEEEEEEEE is.
P.S. Look at the piece of paper, to your right.
Oh, he has got a piece of paper as well.
I come prepared.
You've written Oh no, wait. WEECO. We
and compliance.
WEECO.
We compliant. WEECO stands for
Waste Electrical and Electronic Equipment Compliance.
Yes.
European law in 2000. I didn't know about that.
So basically, you can't chuck out these machines.
Right.
It's law that you're not allowed to do it.
For the record, I've never chucked one out.
No, you absolutely not.
They're in my loft.
But now you can repurpose them all. So what we do is we say we take it, and let's assume that the machine is so bad that it can't be reused for anything. Okay, we take out the disks, we take out the memory, and then we perform or provide a WEEEEEEE service. I don't want to shout about this too much, but it costs Resilient to do that. Okay, so every couple of months, somebody comes by and goes, I'll take all these machines off us, and they charge us a couple of £100.
Okay.
But it's the right thing to do, Adam, because it means I'm safe in the knowledge that these are not being, chucked in landfill or whatever.
Yep.
They are being broken down and reutilised, and, that's all part of this directive. Or I do what you do. If the machine is good enough, I will go, I'll save it. Just for the occasion when you came up yesterday and went, Andy. So really, this is an old machine. It was running Windows 10. Unfortunately, it come to its end of its life, couldn't be upgraded to Windows 11. The Windows 11 has got a few extra securities, TPM chip, things like that. So this machine was, not
unable to
do that. The customer was very happy. They'd got 4 to 5 years life service out of it, and they just said, right, Andy, take it off me. I must stress that all of the drives that we take out are wiped to
I've seen your machine.
Standard.
You've got a very clever machine that
cost me quite a bit of money. That machine, but it physically wipes the data and it provides a certificate that's bound by the UK government, the US government, and you couldn't recover the data if you tried. This particular hard drive that I donated to you for the operating system is such one. So there's absolutely no danger of you recovering. Not that you would, Adam, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand.
But that was basically given to you. You kindly provided 2 existing hard drives, 500 gig, 2 of them. And what was your stipulation? Very, very fast.
Yes, it was. So this is where you used the word RAID.
RAID 0 for striping.
Yeah, so RAID spelled RAID.
Redundant something or another.
Yep, so I've got RAID 5 in
your
my
NAS, in
server
your
cabinet,
RAID
yep,
5.
which means I've got 4 disks.
And 3 disks are used to hold all the data.
Yep.
And the 4th disk is to take data from the other 3 disks and create something called parity. And the reason that is if you've got the word Adam spread across 3 disks, the 4th disk takes the words Adam, the 3 parity bits, and stores them all on the 4th disk. And basically what that means is if any of the other disks fail, hot swap, take it out, replace it, that disk goes, I know exactly what it needs to do, and it helps replicate the disks back
There
over.
you go. So yeah, but that means it's slower.
It does, but in terms of security, in terms of redundancy and resilience, it's much, much better.
Which is the reason why we went down that route in that instance. The issue
However,
we're having is we need speed.
Now, you then said to me, it doesn't really matter if you lose the data because it's all backed up.
Yeah,
It's
because we're
either
going
on
to
the
back it
original-
up. We're going to set it away to back up
Correct.
when we leave. We've put Alina's machines on the schedule.
Yeah.
This is on the schedule. I told you that I did that.
Hey, we'll come on to that.
But yeah, this is like the editing station. So I want to be editing when we're working on files. The files we are looking at, ultimately, we need to move over to it, is we're going to be looking at this machine.
Yeah, exactly. So by setting up with RAID 0, which is Stripe, we obviously got the speed. And what that does, in layman's terms, is if you think about writing a file to a single disk, it writes it sequentially, bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. RAID 0 allowed the machine to take the data from the file and go, I'll write there, so it's twice as fast.
There we go then.
There we go. And that set that up, and we attempted to transfer a 7 gig file, and it took a few minutes because I was transferring at like 108 megabits per second. We can and we will be looking at getting it slightly better for you with some upgrades to network, and that's again something that I want to touch on. But really, I'm quite proud that we've repurposed this machine. It's not gone out to landfill or waste or whatever, and actually you've got a working machine, a working device.
100%. So yesterday I took the machine off you, plugged it into the network, and Andy was like, right, you need to, he didn't just spoon feed me, right? So he was like, you need to fix the IP address on your network.
Correct.
So when the other computers look at it, they know exactly where it is. So it always gets the same address. Just
Static
think of it like
IP
that.
address, Mac reservation.
So off I went. And I did it.
You did it,
I
didn't
did
you?
it, yep. So I set a static IP. I then managed to log in to the login,
TrueNAS software,
software.
Yeah.
First time I've had chance. I know people using it. Never been in. Love it. I think it's great. I then had to fix a wee setup
Yes,
issue.
a wee problem. We used Daniel, our T engineer apprentice guy, who did his
tell
very,
you
very
what,
boss.
he's done a fantastic thing. And it turns out, I found there's an article on YouTube
Yeah, lovely.
that this version of TrueNAS needs a user applied instead of it being applied to the root, the master.
Right, the master.
And that was it.
That was it.
That was it. But it used to be
Yes.
the root, and that's the only reason why. But considering, he's on placement, yeah?
He's on placement 1 day a week, and I think you were there when I said, I went, Daniel, take that machine, Google TrueNAS, here's the operating system drive, Adam will eventually come down and get the other 2 drives, but basically set it up for me.
Yeah.
And you just looked at me and you went, is that all you're giving him? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, and then I walked back in the room to get more wires, and you were like, there it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's the discs. You did it, and you tested it, and then you were ready to drop it back off. So I had this hours.
Yes,
I
literally.
appreciate you did drop a few things to let me
exactly.
to let me get this. So I do appreciate that. But so look, yes, this is a bit geeky, but actually, if you want things to work for you and technology to work for you, and you're moving a lot of data around, people do these for home.
Oh, God, yeah,
all the time.
absolutely, yeah.
So, like people have these home solutions. So in here, there's Intel i5, I believe, if I remember right. So it's, it's like, yes, it's not the highest spec, but it doesn't need to be for something like this.
No.
And I, like you're saying, you're so happy you've repurposed it. Me too. This means I'm not taking new equipment. Yes, there's a saving. Yes, there's a saving of the parts and things like that. But I'm like, well, this week was sat on your shelf.
It was. It's been sat there for
And
probably about a
those
month.
SDs were there for something else I was trying with some docking stations that I was having intermittent success with.
Yes.
So I was like, right, well, those drives are now being used because when have you got any drives? I was like, I do.
You do.
And you were like, well, I've got this. So all of this stuff was in the building this week.
Yeah, it was. Sat on my shelf as of Wednesday. As of yesterday, it was in your office.
I know, working. Sorry, people are texting me.
Yeah.
Move that over there. It was sat on a shelf. It was all gathering dust, and now we've got Spielberg.
Yeah, I called it a very neat
You
name.
did. Hub spoke NAS number 2.
Yes, because it is your second NAS. So
Yeah.
why Spielberg?
Well, do you know what? Bit of fun.
Absolutely.
I had my mates at uni. They had their own server. It's the first time I came across server, and they called it Scurvy.
The scurvy
So
pirates.
it's where's whatever. They had it as like a media server.
Yeah.
And things like that. But they're like, where's Scurvy? They also did a clever thing with Steam downloading games.
Yes.
So you can get it downloaded to the server, and then if anyone wants to get that game, instead of downloading it all from the internet, it just takes it
Passed
from the
on
network.
server, yeah,
Amazing.
All legit as well, but it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. So they had that sort of stuff in place. But Scurvy. And I was like, I want a name. So I thought we'll call it Spielberg. So when it's more convenience
Yeah.
in the office, because now we've got NAS and NAS.
Yes.
So I was like, Spielberg makes the movies.
Yeah, I like what you
There
did
we
there.
go. So Spielberg is making the movies, and
Yeah.
then I don't know. Maybe we need to retrospectively come up for
it's
with
fine.
another name.
Remember a couple of episodes ago, we were talking about internal routers and DNS.
Yes.
Okay, so not that you can remember, and actually this is a really good reason why. What's the static IP address of this device?
Am I allowed to say? Does it put me at risk in the world?
Give me the last 2 octets.
The last 2,
Yeah.
10-100.
Yeah, 10.100.
Yeah.
So normally, if I was saying to you, you would log on to your system and just like it's 192.168.10.100.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, multiply that by all the other devices in your office. They all got different IPs and stuff like that. By giving something a name, and even a good quirky name like Spielberg, instead of in your network going, where's 192.168.10.100, where's Spielberg? It suddenly goes, there it is.
It
over
says
there.
Spielberg on my desktop.
There you go.
So yeah. So
I had 2 machines in the early days, and I called them R2 and D2.
did you?
I did.
That's brilliant. I love
Just
that.
navigating to R2. Where's D2?
We are geeking out today.
Oh,
This is good.
absolutely.
But this is really important because this is something we haven't touched on in the podcast. And actually, I didn't know about WEEEEEEEE,
Yeah.
and we've been working with you for quite a while.
No, exactly. It's a
So
service,
we need to talk about
WEEEEEEEE.
WEEEEEEEE that you offer.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know there's a cost and this, that, and the other, but in terms of because it is a shame. Technology moves so quickly.
Unbelievable.
Things get just outdated so fast. But the fact is, this isn't the latest. This isn't this, but it is functional. It is fast because I have moved some files around. It's fast and it's going to serve such a useful purpose and solve a big problem for us.
Yeah, and it is something that we discussed the other day about repurposing equipment, and you don't necessarily have to have the biggest, the bestest, the fastest machine in order to do your job, your role. Of course. Now, take Alina behind us. We couldn't give her a repurposed old machine. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah, if we gave her this machine, for example,
Yeah. She'd probably smash you over the head with
she'd
it.
probably smash me. It would do a lot of damage as well.
Yeah, it
I'm
would
trying
do,
to get the
because
case
it's
back
very
on.
heavy. But ideal for, and I've spoke about this, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more, repurposing it. He says, trying to work out how to get this back on. You've done it wrong, Adam. For goodness sake, you broke it. But if we talk about repurposing equipment, it's absolutely ideal. So, certainly from a... Look, you broke it.
We'll do it later.
We'll do it
We'll
later.
do it
Anyway. We'll do it.
Yeah.
But certainly if you think about users working from, just at home, they will have bought a laptop, a decent laptop.
Yep.
2 or 3 years ago, it's getting slow, it's getting a bit, outdated. They will typically go out and buy a brand new one and typically chuck the old one away. And I'm going, no, you don't need to. So I probably had last year, I think, probably about 8 to 10 people that came to me, knowing me from, my job, and basically said, I've got a home laptop, Andy. It's running terribly, terribly bad. It's 4 to 5 years old. I really can't afford to buy a new one. What can you suggest? And instantly what I say to them is, what do you use it for? If the answer is just surfing the internet, then 100% I take them down the route of what's called an open source operating system. That can either be, and I've written them down for us, Linux, Ubuntu, Zorin, or Chrome OS. Zorin I've thrown in there as a little bit of a curveball because it's based upon Linux. The reason I looked at Zorin is that if you think about it from my point of view, my friend, you've seen Linux in its rawest form. So, when you booted this up for the first time, huge.
Took me back to my childhood. It took me back to my childhood. The DOS display.
Firing up the lines, firing up the screens. Linux is typically lots of command-based. Okay. The reason people use it is that if it's running what's called a headless GUI, as in you don't need to see a front end, it's performing its function in the background. You don't need a front-end GUI, which typically draws...
Graphic user interface.
Thank you. Well done. It doesn't need the power to drive that.
Okay.
So therefore, it can concentrate on doing the job in hand.
I keep banging twitching my leg, and Lena's going, it's coming through on the microphone. Sorry,
stop it. It doesn't need to run all of the GUIs. It doesn't need to run anything. So it can basically concentrate on doing the job at hand.
So doing like this is doing a job. Can I just add on that? You're saying headless and graphic user interface and all this. This machine, I plugged it into a monitor first to set it up, as you said, to find out the various details. But now, when I take this back through, all we do is plug in the power, plug in the network cable, and power it on. And then we access it from our devices on the network.
Yeah. What's really good from my point of view is that this machine can now sit somewhere, doesn't need a keyboard, does not need a mouse, does not need a monitor. It will just run. And lovely that you worked out, what was it that to schedule the automatic shutdown?
Cron tasks.
A cron task.
Yeah, so I logged into TrueNAS from my laptop.
Yeah.
This was it's over on the table at the moment because there's not enough room in this cabinet. So I need to figure that issue out. But at the moment, that's just going to be on a desk. And that's not a problem. So I went to trusty YouTube. I was like, how can I make this? Because what we're having to do is we're having to leave things uploading and backing up now outside of office hours.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't want to do that before because it means leaving your machine on overnight using lots of electricity, which is an environmental issue and a cost issue as well as there's cost. And I'm just more comfortable with everything powering down. So I was like, I've scheduled Alina's machine to shut off later on an evening. And every night what we're doing is we're leaving things uploading. So there's several things that were uploading and backing up last night, and then it shuts off later on. I was like, I want this to do the same thing so that if we're exporting any footage or using it or pushing data from here to the cert, backing it up, we can leave Alina's machine on, which will set the task running. That'll then shut down, and then I need this to shut down. So, cron tasks, which means chronological, doesn't it? It's like time.
Yeah.
And then I found a bit of code that is the shutdown command.
And then you popped it into that and it worked?
Popped it in, custom time, which you had to do with commas.
Yes.
Even though it shows you with colons, it says
it's actually commas and that. But that basically works out the time, the minute, and the day.
Yeah.
So 0 to 7 is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then you have the date, the hour, and then the minute and the seconds, which is why you have 4.
So I managed to figure that out, and then the test was this morning when we walk in, is this turned off?
And was it?
And it was. So, that was great. Alina's machine was off, and this was off
as well.
And I was going to bed last night going, I hope it's turned off. I hope it's done, but I did test it. So so I did a thing.
I think we've said before, but I've gone slightly one step further using the well-known Amazon device. So our machines automatically power off, obviously when we take them home. But I've got the build desk, and you've seen it with 4 or 5 different laptops, 4 or 5 different monitors. And obviously that does work sometimes during the night. But what we're trying to do nowadays is finish the work at 5:30. And therefore, if I leave some jobs running, I naturally get all the machines to power off. And that's via what you did, the Windows version of the cron job. Yeah. What's really clever about a couple of the machines that I have purchased is not only can I schedule the task to shut it down in the BIOS of the machine, it can automatically power the machine on first thing in the morning at 7 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then what's even better is that in my build desk, you've seen my lovely, beautiful Ubiquiti 16-port switch.
I have indeed. Yeah.
And obviously that's was running throughout the night.
Yep.
Purchased some Alexa-powered plugs.
Yep.
6 o'clock, plug automatically turns off, all of my switches go down. Saving
there you
myself
go.
electricity.
Exactly, which is really important. So, don't know whether you can hear the train outside.
No, actually we can't.
Yeah,
quite. Listen to that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, reused machine.
Yeah.
Thinking about how you're using electricity, maximizing efficiency in terms of when you're doing various jobs and tasks. And a lot of people, that are getting into film and video, something like this is a great solution. Once you've, at first people use external hard disks, that's absolutely fine. That's what I've used for years.
Yeah.
Then it was the NAS to back things up. I have one at home that I was using first when I was more on the road a lot more, so I'd back everything up at home. And then I was using it as a backup, off-site backup, to put files through. And then this gives us an editing function that does a separate job. So this is not for backup. If that machine goes down, we need to be prepared to lose all of the data on it.
Yeah.
And have a backup somewhere, basically.
That's what you said to me. That was your brief. And I think, again, it's important to understand that it's the difference that when me and you talk, and hopefully it's the difference that you understand, I didn't just say, right, this will do you. I went, right, whoa, what is it that you want?
Yep.
What happens if this machine lost data? And you're like, actually, it shouldn't matter because I've got the source.
Yep.
I've already got it backed up. This is purely for when I'm working on stuff. So no, I don't care. Speed is of the essence, Andy.
So the process for this is get it from the disk onto here.
Yeah.
Then get this from here onto the NAS. Now I am prepared for that to then happen.
Yes.
After the fact.
Yeah.
Because usually we've still got data on the cards. If we can get it over in the same time, it depends on the turnaround. But
it does.
But when we solve these network issues out, I then just maximising our speed, and I've got a new switch to put in.
Yeah.
When we walk back through, hopefully it'll be like gone, and then we can set it away backing up. So it's not an issue. What I would say is this isn't just a work thing.
No.
People can use these for photographs.
Having your own Plex media server at home, which I've got one.
Plex.
Yeah,
so what does that do?
A Plex is a free piece of software that can hold lots and lots of things. It can hold photographs. It can hold your music collection. So obviously nowadays most people have MP3s and they want to be able to stream it everywhere. A Plex is a centralized media server that I can access it on my Alexa, on my PC, on my phone. Oh dear.
Oh no.
What have you done?
Andy.
Yes.
I need a Plex server. DJ.
Of course.
So I do back things up.
Yeah. But Plex is your friend.
I need a Plex. No, because I do access the music as well, obviously, and listen to it, because I'm usually listening to it. I need another
Plex on this.
On your
my
phone.
It's a Plex app, and I can connect it to my NAS at home, and I can stream songs, and I can stream my videos and music.
Can you?
Yeah, automatically.
There we go.
You need a Plex. There's another thing to add to your right.
Add that to the list.
But this is what I'm saying. These devices can be used because everybody's got a lot of photographs.
Yep.
Now, obviously, I have got to make sure to say they should be backed up in the cloud to start off with.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if this device goes, you have lost
things.
Yeah.
And you'd have a different setup on the drives, different RAID setup
100%
for the backup.
and all of that good stuff. But typically, most of my music is stored in the cloud because I've got it via Apple or whatever it may be. But what I do is I store it on my Plex device. And being geeky that I was, I went, how can I build my own Plex server? You Google it and somebody says, take an old machine, install the Plex software, do what you need to do, job done.
So the reason why I was like, I need a Plex server is because some of the DJ pools that I get my music from are not cloud-based.
Aha.
So I have to make a constant point of back. In fact, I did it last night.
Yeah.
Back up to an external disk.
Yeah.
I've then copied it to my desktop.
Yeah.
So I've got 2. I've actually got 3. And then quite often I bring the disk and keep it in the office just so I've got an
get
offside
yourself
backup.
a Plex server at home. Again, you've already seen we've got some more machines at Resilient that I'm very happy to donate to a good cause.
Yeah.
And then we can set the drive.
But I think the key thing is this is not just a work thing. You can use it to. You can, in theory, use it to back up your phone. Do you know? Your phone, like you can set. obviously Apple, Android, all those sort of things. So you can choose these areas to back your phone up to.
Yeah.
So you can have a backup in your house. And then if you wanted to, you can then hook these up to an external source and back those up to the cloud.
You can.
And do it that way. So it does give you an option where you don't have to use the inbuilt services such as
exactly.
Apple. And
my very first NAS, when I got into Resilient about a couple of years later, my very first NAS was used to store my Minecraft server.
Yes. See, this has crossed my mind with the kids, obviously.
Yeah.
Doing this. I just remember, what I also like about this is the power supply.
Yeah.
It won't be a big one in terms of won't you draw a lot of power. I don't know what it is in there, but it can't be much.
One of the things that we also recommend you do, and this is something that we may discuss later, is that typically in the BIOS, is you can set the low energy, so the CPU and the PSU can actually go into low power mode.
Right.
Yeah. So when it's sat there not doing anything, it will literally go to sleep. So I've got my NAS at home doing exactly the same. If there isn't any activity on the disks for half an hour, it goes into very, very slow sleep mode.
Right.
What that does mean, the very first time I touch it, it has to spin up.
Yeah.
So I notice about a minute to 2 minute delay.
Yeah, you just got to give it some time, and it goes.
Yeah, but obviously I'm saving energy.
Yeah, 100%. Right, I'm looking at some of your things. So we've gone through. Oh, so safe, super fast. Yes.
So one of the advantages, one of the advantages of using the other operating systems like TrueNAS, like Linux, like Ubuntu, and the reason I came into Zorin is that because these users were saying that I need to repurpose their laptops, the downside is if you think about today's world, we are a graphical user interface mode.
Yeah.
Not many people, apart from you and me, can live in DOS land.
Yeah.
Another programmers out there. Where I came across Zorin is it put a very nice graphical user interface over Linux and Ubuntu, and it actually helped a lot of my users. So, as I said last year, I converted some of these laptops and put Zorin onto them, and 100% success. These users are like, oh my gosh, it's super fast. And I'm like, yes. So what do I do? And I'm like, like in Windows, you just clicked on the start button. Zorin's got the same thing. Click on the start button. And then what do I do? Well, what would you do if it was a Windows? Well, I'd search for Firefox or I'd search for Chrome.
Yeah.
Type in Chrome, type it. Oh my God, click. It's the web browser I know and love. That's all you ever need.
Well, there we go.
So suddenly, from this machine was taken, I think this one lady I'm particularly thinking of, it was like 10, 12 minutes to boot up the machine. Then she would log on, and then, again, let's face it, Windows is exceptionally good, but it can get bloated.
Yep.
Once it's behind in security patches, once you've got all these other things that run in the background, gets very bloated. 12, 13 minutes for this lady to sign on. I powered it on. Within about 2 or 3 minutes, she was signed on. Within 4 minutes, she was surfing the internet.
There we go. So your technology, just because it might be a bit tired, doesn't mean it's dead.
No, and that's where these operating systems come into and breathe life into new hardware.
Yeah, so the super fast, you can browse the internet.
Browse the internet using
web-based applications, so you could log into your Teams.
100%. Microsoft 365 only needs a web browser.
Well, there we go. What's this? Can allow you to be perfect. Yep, talked about that.
Yeah.
Safer, less likely to catch a virus.
So I've got to say safer, less likely to catch a virus, because most of the
He's smiling.
Most of the hackers are looking to attack businesses with Windows machines. Yeah.
Okay.
Windows machines tend to have a lot of security holes, and that's just the world we live in. That's why we have Microsoft Patch Tuesday, because all of these operating systems, because they're trying to be all things to all men.
Yep.
They
using all pieces of equipment.
They have to be. Whereas a Linux device or an Ubuntu device, the hackers are typically not after those because they're not used by big businesses. So you are safer.
Potentially less targeted.
Potentially less. I'm not saying that you can't hack a Linux on that, but what I'm saying is you are less likely, and certainly when you, if you potentially go onto a malicious website, it's expecting you to be on a Windows device.
Right, okay.
And therefore it's like, oh, you're a Linux device. Oh, okay.
Don't know what to do with that.
Don't know what to do with that, exactly. Yeah. And as we've said, it's good for the environment.
Awesome. Right, you got some disadvantages.
I have. Sadly, I have. So can be tricky to install. Now, obviously, as we mentioned yesterday, I gave this to Daniel. and he YouTube's your friend.
He did a
YouTube is his
fantastic
friend.
job. He
Fantastic.
really did. I was blown
Yeah.
away, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I obviously gave Daniel the chance yesterday.
That was it.
Yeah. So I said to Daniel, off you go.
I'm moving my leg again.
Gabe said to Daniel, off you go, install TrueNAS. He went, right.
Did he? Because he looked so confident.
Yeah, it's like Google's your friend. But that's the beauty of why we love him. He's just like, fine, I'm off. He's not frightened. And that's one of the things that I did say to him when he first came on board. I went, you start to be frightened. I said, you can't work in IT. You've got to sort of like get out there. I said, look, you're working on a device. There's no data at risk. There's no customer issues here. I said, choose it.
That's why yesterday when I was like, the group thing that I was on about wasn't quite working.
Yeah.
And basically, Alina could put files on.
Yes.
I could put files on, but we couldn't see each other's files.
Yes.
So I was like,
What? Yeah.
yeah. But then when I'm on the TrueNAS software as the admin, I could see all the files.
Yes.
So I was like, So I was like, well, we've got no data on there other than these made up folders, that, you know. So I was like, right, I'm just going to start flicking switches to see.
Randomly flicking
well, what's the worst can happen? We have to reinstall it, sort of thing. That was sort of the ethos I had to take.
Yeah, so Daniel, bless him, he started to YouTube it. He had some experience, as in he learned about it previously, but not physically done it from scratch. And that's what I'm saying. It's a bit tricky. So in a very brief time, what he had to do was download the ISO image of the TrueNAS software. Mm-hmm. He had to do that to a USB.
Yep.
He had to use some software called Rufus that actually burns the USB image, burns the ISO image to the USB.
Yep.
He then had to go into the BIOS of this machine to say boot from
from the USB, yeah.
Yeah. So he plugged the USB drive in, powered it on, it booted to USB, and then obviously the Rufus software had converted this into a bootable image. Mm-hmm. So the machine sort of went, oh, I recognize what you want. Would you like to install TrueNAS to my hard drive?
There you go.
Okay. So it's not difficult. YouTube was his friend, and obviously I've said out there, YouTube was fantastic for doing things like that. But I would say within about half an hour, he's going, I've got it installed. I was like, get it.
So he can go home and do that himself now. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Like repurposing equipment.
Yeah, so it's going. So one of the things that we did discuss yesterday, even though bearing in mind that this is on Ethernet.
Yes.
So one of the things to bear in mind is that if you are looking for speed, obviously cable is more stable. And it's faster.
And it rhymes.
Yeah, and it rhymes, which is why we like it. That was Michelle. I must put that down to Michelle.
Oh, you fixed it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I shut the case now.
Yeah, Michelle actually came up with that. But obviously, in terms of Wi-Fi speeds, as over Ethernet speeds, Ethernet is much, much faster. So it's much better to do it that way. But I have had some people wanting some NASs at home where it's physically impossible to Ethernet it. They haven't got the cable, they haven't got the structure. So therefore, what we did...
You said no.
No, I said we'll plug a USB Wi-Fi adapter. Yeah. The downside is not all Linux-based operating systems have the right drivers. Okay. So we've plugged this one in, didn't quite work. And I wouldn't have expected the end user to do this, but just like you did with your cron job, I had to go into the Linux command line, sudo to allow me to do administrative things, and then I had to do all the commands, sudo apt-get, and I had to download this particular driver that the TrueNAS software didn't know natively.
Yeah.
Downloaded it, installed it, booted it back up, and going, there, you've got it. Yeah, obviously the user was looking at me going, what did you just do?
Yeah, well, yesterday you went to me, just plug a keyboard in, turn it onto a monitor. And I was like, I don't have any wired keyboards in the office. So I left going, okay.
Yeah.
Going, I know Alina's has got a dongle, so I was like, should work.
Yeah,
should
exactly.
work. Yeah. And it did.
So, but also, very interestingly, that's why we always keep a cabled USB mouse and a cabled keyboard, purely for that fact.
After, when I walked out the room, I'm like, I can't now ask him for a keyboard. But I've got them at home.
Yeah,
I was just like, and it was fine.
But it was fine.
Yeah.
So as I said, Wi-Fi drivers may not always work.
But if you're transferring data, really, you want to be wired. And your home routers and things like that, we talked about these, they've got ports for
They have 100%.
Yep.
Yeah. Plenty of YouTube videos, as I said, and loads of helpful people.
Forums.
Forums.
So I Google. Normally I do the YouTube. YouTube yesterday couldn't give me that shutdown thing.
Right. Okay.
It gave me a lot of other useful stuff. But there was forums, and TrueNAS have got a good community because
phenomenal.
Yeah, because loads of people are trying to set it up.
Yeah.
So I was like, how do I schedule shutdown?
And probably the first hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was actually.
It was.
But I managed to then go through. There's a couple of, there's then different comments because it's all left by the community. And some people are saying, put this in. And I was like, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I tried this other one and it did work. So there we go.
So the biggest disadvantage.
Yes.
So out of last year when I was saying about 11, 12 people who I've converted these laptops to run Linux, Zorin, whatever like that, you then typically get, I tried to install this on it, and I can't remember whether it was Minecraft, but something similar. They obviously have grandkids over anyway, and it wouldn't load. And I'm like, no. Linux and Zorin and the Ubuntu operating systems, they are great for surfing the internet and for doing those low-level tasks.
Yeah.
You turn around to me and say, I want to install Sage, I want to install this, and I'm like, no. Because why would Sage support the operating system?
An example for us is we use Adobe Cloud.
Yeah.
And you can, in theory, have media encoder on another device that is watching a folder.
Yes.
And when a project, a video project comes into there, it can then encode the project and export it.
Yeah.
We couldn't do this on this.
No.
This is purely storage.
Yeah.
You can't surf the internet on this.
Nope.
You can basically put files in it. Shows up as a drive.
Yeah, exactly. What's really good, though, is that obviously one of your other stipulations when you came up is it has to be compatible with both Windows and Mac devices because you've got both.
Yep.
Again, True NAS has the SMB, which is the Samba share as well, which is the ability to allow the shares to be seen both by the Windows and the Macs.
Yep.
So again, it ticked all the right boxes for you. But, again, some of the disadvantages is, I want to install Sage, I want to install this. No, you just can't do it.
But I think bear in mind, if you've done what we've done, you're repurposing a machine that was gathering dust, disks that were gathering dust. So, manage your expectations as well.
Yes.
I think, let's be reasonable, but equally, think about having, you could have one of these for just literally a research station. So if you had work experience students and things like this, you could have one of those plugged in so you can just pull up online stuff. If you do a lot of online stuff, Canva is web-based.
Correct. As you say, Teams.
All the social media channels are web-based.
Absolutely.
Nothing software. So I think it's just thinking about that purpose and how people can work on it.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that do ask me about Chromebooks. So Chromebooks are very, very, very good for what they do. They're nowhere near as expensive as a Windows laptop machine. But again, if all you're ever doing is surfing, job done. It's easy, it's out there, it's a free piece of software that you can do. And now Google Chrome OS have released, the community have released a Chrome OS version that you can install on older laptops.
Yep.
So again, if you've got, for example, a student who's saying, listen, I've got a Gmail account, I want to be able to do my work on the internet, Chromebook is perfect for them. But again, don't use it for business because then suddenly it's like, I'd like to install Adobe.
I know.
I'm sorry, you cannot do that.
Yeah. So I'm going on the road after today, as you know, on holiday.
3 weeks.
And I am taking, well, technically it'll be 4.
4 weeks?
Well, I'll be back in 4 weeks.
Right, wow.
I obviously, running the business, I do have to take devices with me. But I'm weighing up, do I need the processing power of my bigger MacBook? Or can I take a smaller laptop that will help me access all my apps and things like that, and I can do it?
Yeah.
Jury's still out at the moment.
Jury's still out. So I've literally got a HP laptop that was returned to us a few weeks back, and it's sat on the side of my desk with Zorin on it.
Is it?
Because I'm literally trying to think, well, what can I use it for? And I would probably say 50% of my work is in web. But obviously my take control software, my programming software, it just doesn't work for me, which is why I've had to go for a Windows laptop. But again, what I'm trying to do is, I'll try and use it and I will go, okay, 50% of my work, and that's not bad, I can use a Zorin OS for. So I don't have to pay for it. It's free. I don't have to worry about antivirus. Well, worry less.
Worry less.
Yeah, exactly. It's safe. I can get out on the internet. I can access Windows shares. I can access SMB shares. So again, it's a really good way to repurpose your equipment. So, for our listeners out there, all 3 of them, I think now, for our listeners out there, if you've got any old laptops, obviously Mark said he's got a few kids, any old laptops kicking around that you think, just so slow, get in touch. We'll give you an upgrade to Zorin. Job done. The kids love them. Out of the 12 people that I did last year, they're just like, this is so, so good. It's fast. It just gets on the internet and does what I want to do.
There you go. I love that. I didn't know about Zorin.
Oh, honestly,
I didn't
my
know.
friend. When you get back, we'll give you a quick update.
Yeah,
again.
I'll have a look at that.
Obviously, some of the things that we can do with your repurposed software. I mean, I know you've got a Mac, which you can obviously still use. One of the problems that I do find with a lot of my customers is that Macs in particular, I can't upgrade to the latest, Yosemite, Sun, or whatever it's
whatever
called.
it is, yeah.
Whatever it's called. It's fine, and it will still work, Adam. Problem is, eventually Apple will stop supporting you.
Exactly.
And then the security patches start to fail. And you then get, you're just a risk. And from a business point of view, and you know this, would you use an outdated operating system on your business network?
No, we do not.
No, exactly.
No.
So hopefully that's been of some use today.
That has been great. This, Mr. Spielberg here, is absolutely outstanding. So yeah, if you are thinking about what you do with your old technology, there is a solution. This is not a sales pitch from Mr. Reed here.
Nope.
It is a genuine, we want to see, things being reused.
No, exactly.
It's so important and you can do so much with them. So let us know if you do have a question about Weco.
Yeah.
About the thing. Obviously, you guys offer the Weco service.
Yeah.
But equally, if you've got devices where you're like, actually, what could we do?
Yeah.
Well, there's options out there, like you say.
Loads of options, and happily, if we get enough people jumping on board, maybe using our new videoing techniques.
I've got an old laptop in my wardrobe.
Fine, bring it in.
2008. Is that way too,
No.
Who knows?
Who knows? But no, bring it in, obviously, when you're back. Bring it in. I'll install Zorin on it. I'll get Daniel to do that for you. And again, we can touch back on it and go.
And that is an old laptop.
It's an old laptop, 2009. I will breathe a new life into it for you.
Do you think, would it handle it?
100%. I guarantee you now.
Right, we'll do that as a trial so we can have that as a demonstration. Because I was literally thinking, last night after doing this, I'm like, I still got those laptops.
No, bring them in, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This weekend, what are you doing?
Nowhere near as much as you. But I'll get onto that.
Yeah.
So basically, because it was my birthday yesterday.
Was it your birthday yesterday?
It was. My lovely two boys have brought me some Steam games.
Oh.
I can't remember what one of them's called, but one of them is the old Jedi Stormtroopers one, remastered. And I did manage to pick up in this sale the Nathan Drake PC Ports Legacy game, so Uncharted. So well into that at the moment.
Yeah.
So I do have another Microsoft 365 migration to do, but that can be running in the background
while you're
I'm playing my games.
I do enjoy, if people think gaming is, I just love it. I just
really
enjoy
You're currently into Helldivers.
Helldivers too,
Yeah, I've not got into that.
Yeah. I'm more of a social gamer.
Yes.
So playing online with friends. Love it. I mean, COVID just brought all that back because we couldn't go anywhere.
No.
Stick a headset on, away you go. It's good fun. So, So
Adam, what are you doing this weekend?
Well, after all of these jobs that I need to do,
yes,
we're heading down to Heathrow, staying overnight tonight, and then on our way to New Zealand tomorrow.
Well, cook me a shrimp on the barbie.
Wrong
reference. Close though. No, not even close.
Yeah, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, so going there. I just can't wait. We're going to do North and South Island.
Oh, fabulous, matey.
Just some time with the family is going to be
4 weeks.
Superb. Yeah.
Yeah, after 1 week.
After 1 week, yeah.
Go away, family. I want to be on my own.
Going out, yeah.
No, that'd be awesome.
No, so cannot wait.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
So what does that leave me for next week?
You're sorted, mate. You told me. Andy has got, I'm going to use the word plethora.
Yes, I have a plethora of guests lined up.
So, yeah. And then,
are we also going to try and get you on a Teams call?
Yeah, we'll need to look at the dates on that. Because the one we're talking about, was it Good Friday?
Yeah, it was Good Friday.
And I was like, right, I need to work out where I am because some of the days we're travelling.
Work out where you are, because obviously, to be fair, I can move my dates around. That's dead easy to do.
Yeah, so we'll see whether we can Teams me in.
That would be lovely to try and do that. Yeah. A true test of technology.
Yes, exactly. So, no, can't wait.
Oh,
it's going to be amazing.
Be
Obviously, there's bits and bobs of work going on around things which I can't step away from.
No, but
in terms of mindfulness, wellness, and all of that, I will 100% be taking a break. Ooh, seamless.
Take a break. It's almost as if you planned it.
Yeah, but the team here have got everything covered and sorted. They're doing a great job.
I'm trusting them them all. You've obviously asked me to keep a secret eye on. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh yeah. Shh.
I've installed the camera.
Yeah, to my phone.
No,
It's
exactly.
great. I'm so excited for it. And,
I'm just waiting for Jess to pop up or Alina to pop up. Can I borrow some cables? I'm like, God, he's away.
Yeah,
and
no,
he's
they
still-
won't be. He's got all the cables. I actually managed to. I did need one more cable for this switch. I brought one in from home.
No, you're more than welcome.
Check
my
me
friend.
out.
You're more than welcome.
So yeah, I will catch you when I am back, everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
and you, sir.
And me. I hope you have a
Every
lovely
three
time,
people.
my friend.
I will.
You take care.
And you look after yourself.
All right then, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.